You're listening to the Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net. freedomtalkradio.net.
Hello there. We on yet?
Yes. I was just a moment of silence. Sorry.
Any particular reason?
No. Just playing around, having fun. As we usually do, we're on air live again. It's always a thrill. Do we know what we're going to talk about today, darling? Let me first of all get through the prelims of every show. Today is Friday, the 10th of April in the year 2015. And we are in the home of the Christ, announced by Pope Benedict XVI on March the 12th, 2013. And later in his famous apostolic letter In Christum Credent that he released to the world on the 26th of March 2013. Now, of course, since then, Pope Benedict himself has been cut off from all communications with the Christ. Not only that, the three witnesses two of them were in his office with him, and a third one was in Toronto, Canada. Three of them are missing. One of them, Father Giuseppe Civello, who was responsible for uploading the announcement to the world, the Christ has been identified, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall, the image of the Shroud of Turin. Father Giuseppe was reported, actually it's appropriate that today, this is the 2-year anniversary. Giuseppe was taken away on, as were the other two, April the 3rd, 2013, under the instructions from Francis, organised by the traitor to all mankind, Archbishop Georg Gan Swain, who was still in a position between both popes where he is catering to their needs, etc. Like a son in the mind of Benedict is Gan Swain toward him. However, Benedict is not aware of the treacherous role that Gan Swain has played that resulted in the murder of the Holy Father, Pope Benedict's best friend and confidant, which was Father Giuseppe Civello. That is how Pope Benedict described Father Giuseppe to us, his best friend and confidant. And of course it was Giuseppe who began the communications through the Facebook that he uploaded as a tribute to Pope Benedict's pontificate. It was Father Giuseppe behind the scenes doing the communicating with us personally, with me in particular, while His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI was communicating with the Christ, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall. It didn't take too much because Pope Benedict is a man of humility, a pure heart, and that is the promise. The pure in heart shall see God. And in Pope Benedict's words, he held the photograph of Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall positioned beside the image of the Shroud of Turin. It's his image, and it's undeniable that this is the same man. It is his photograph, the soul of the Father, and is why today, in this world of delusion covering the entire earth, the Christian world rejects. They are believing that the young buck, 33-year-old dude, He's going to be fronting up. Some of them believe he's coming on a big white horse, surfing the clouds, whatever. Everything was spoken in parables. It's all symbology. The promise to David was that his seed, that means from the loins of the generations, would come the one who would sit on the throne forever, the everlasting kingdom. So that is the Christ. All the world out there today is the world of lies. Truth is not expounded or aired where the masses have can get a hold of it. Being deluded by radio, TV, alternative media, newspapers, all controlled by the same Jews who have a protocol. We shall forbid Christ. They knew he was coming as a man. I mean, it's just makes sense. God is logic. He
Truth.
is intelligence. Logic, truth, intelligence.
Wisdom.
A logical mind. Full of wisdom. So...
Full of gas occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when things are going down in the world. Whoa, it was really bad a couple of years ago when there were volcanoes going off left, right and centre. It was funny. Anyway, moving right along. What have you got to say for yourself today, babe?
Well, I think basically some of the things that really, the audacity of Francis that Pope Benedict had announced to us his belief. And of course, when Father Giuseppe uploaded this information to his Facebook page with the apostolic letter, etc., he couldn't do it out of Italy because they already closed it off.
That's right. That's why.
So this is the innocence of the papal office at the time.
They couldn't believe what we were telling them about the enemy, being the Jews, and that the next one will be the Antichrist. Benedict kept going, so who's going to be the next pope? And Yah kept saying, it doesn't matter what idiot walks out of the conclave. Joe Bloggs, it could have been the name. It, as it turned out, Jog Bergoglio. It would be the Antichrist, biblical Antichrist. But he had a hard time.
I hadn't even looked up which cardinals were...
No. We didn't have... It didn't matter. It's all a zoo anyway. And Gail Ganswain, if you go over to his... that was floating around at the time or shortly after his Twitter sites, you can gather a lot from people and their tweets, who it is that they follow and who follows them. Well, Gail Ganswain doesn't have a very good CV on this end, just judging his Twitter site and the tweets that he has left. I know there's a lot out there that are fakes and counterfeits, but this was the real George, and he spoke with inside information into what was going on in the conclave, and he talked about how many wives were in the conclave. And when you're a homosexual, what does it mean to be a wife? Doesn't leave a lot to the imagination, does it? Anyway. You're stunned, aren't you? I mean, it's old information, but what were you going to say?
Well, Father Cirillo was charged with treason by
Francis.
What a phenomenally evil and stupid thing to do. Because he was following the orders of Benedict to put it up.
Giuseppe was,
and
yes.
for doing that,
yes,
Francis, because he is the Antichrist, that's the last thing he wants to see information getting out that the former Pope believes that Christ is back on the earth.
Yet he gave permission to Benedict to publish. Benedict told him, I'm writing an apostolic letter.
Yeah, he told
Can I quote
you?
you? Yes. Can I quote you? And in the apostolic letter it tells how he got permission.
See, I think what happened, because Francis is just a puppet, when it became known to his handlers, the Jews, they thought, oh no, you can't say that. Now, the reality is that the Christian world is all Jewish. They follow the Jewish dictates of a Jewish altered Bible. The Jews never talk about Isaiah or any of the prophets. They only talk about the Quran. And of course they're dominated by the Talmud, which to me is amazing that the world of Christianity have no idea about what the Jews really are. And that the Talmud dominates and that they will never mention Jesus at all. Right? That's what I find quite amazing. But then again, the prophecy is that the whole world will reject the Messiah. And the point is, I never was the Messiah for the Jews. I'm the Messiah for the children. Right? Not for some Christianity that's made up, or for some Muslims that's made up some Quran. That's not me. It's got nothing to do with it. I'm not religious. I just speak truth and wisdom, and that's it. So, naturally,
and
the world is
the
going
way,
to
the
be...
truth and the life.
Well,
Yeah.
when you go to hell, you're going to have a very, very strong religion against you, right? So that's what the earth is, it's hell. So, yeah, there's no sense in the world. Even this Haggai has said that Jesus was not the Jewish Messiah.
There was no...
So where's he coming from, or where's he going to?
Well, he is all part of the Zionist Israeli Judaism BS. He's a Jew. But he's been saying what you've been saying all along, is that you didn't come and... I went over this yesterday, I don't have to go there anymore. Oh, we've got two comments. Hello. Let me get to the... Somebody's listening to us. Roller skis, ha. Hard day yesterday, cracking skulls.
Who's this one?
This is Adam Yates. And woke up to more of it today. Ho hum. All religion is male-dominated Masonic versions leading to gayism. You're absolutely right. Hello, Hirad. Hirad is there. Hi guys, glad to have you with us. And yeah, all the religions lead to gayism. Play on the word goy.
And now to listeners, have they got some questions they want to ask?
Oh yes, guys, any questions that you want to ask? Yeah, he's Roller Skis is just saying hi to you. I shouldn't look at that; it gets me distracted. All right. So the point is that with all now, what is happening with John Haggai coming out and saying, "Well, Jesus wasn't the Messiah for the Jews," but just the truth anyway. Not the Jews as the world perceives it. That rabble, I've said it before, the filthy, rotten death cult that Christians believe to be the chosen people because they've been deluded. The delusion that covers the whole earth, this is what it is. And is why he said nothing, because he wasn't on the earth for them. He was on the earth for the ones.
To stop them.
That's right. You said that you spoke in parables for the understanding of those who were meant to hear what you were hearing, and so that the others couldn't and wouldn't understand, lest they be saved. Somewhere along the line there's a...
Well, I think that someone wrote in they will be saved. They won't be saved in any circumstances. I mean, you're looking at the... from a perspective of God stupid.
Yeah.
They believe God was stupid. That couldn't see sin through blood of a lamb and all that kind of bullshit that go on. And got to remember the New Testament has been tweaked pretty solidly. One example of that is the stone the builder rejected has become the head of the blah 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 rejected capstone, right? Well, in the original, which is in the Essene account, it's the word pyramid.
Yeah, the head of the pyramid.
So Isaiah knew all about the pyramid because he mentions it several times.
Yes.
And confirmed by the numbers of Isaiah 19:19 and 19:20, which is the value in Hebrew letters of the actual height of the pyramid up to the rejected capstone. So Isaiah's been 100% right all the way through. That's the amazing thing. Right. And this is why the Jews are never reading Isaiah, especially Isaiah 53. I don't understand. Isaiah 63, of course, is all about the Lord coming back. It's actually a dialogue of the Lord speaking and recorded by Isaiah, speaking to an angel. The angel's asking him, "Why are you red in your apparel?" And the reason is that we're talking now. Isaiah 63 is talking about now, that the Lord is back and he can't find nobody else saving. That ties in with the prophecy of Psalms 118:22, stone the builders reject. Well, if you can't find anyone worth saving, that means there's no followers of you. And it's not taking our little group into consideration. We're talking overall.
Yes.
So overall, all the churches, all of Islam, all the atheists, all the whatever, are all against a messianic figure because they are themselves are possessed with demons. They've been allowed demons into the world. This is the whole point. And they go on with it. They're the sheep. So what I was saying the other day or this morning, you might go out on a farm somewhere and there's a lovely man and his wife and little kiddies, and they're raising up a couple of thousand head of sheep. They never mention to the sheep they're going to fleece them and then butcher them, are they?
Yeah.
That's what a church is.
Yes.
Right? So the church leaders, lovely people, give us a few dollars every week, no worries, 10% if you can afford it, or if you can't afford it, 10% before tax. And all churches do that. That's called tithing. Right? Did I ever say at any time to tithe?
No.
Of course not. Where is it coming from? Babylon.
All
right. So these lovely people, they've got the little kiddies running around. I know a few of them. I've been to their houses and talked about various things. Of course, none of them get it. But just in Canada and in Australia, Seventh-day Adventist churches, for example, I reckon they got it all sewed up. But because they have no idea what they're talking about. And lovely people, though. One fellow in Australia here, I went to his house every Tuesday night or something for a group prayer, discussion, bullshit thing that they do. Because I wanted to see what's going on. And this fellow was Don Anderson, his name was. This is in Melbourne, Seventh-day Adventist, Greensborough, Diamond Valley area. So I hope he's listening. And he was telling me that in his own house, his daughter had come to him and said that a demon had appeared to her, this figure, and tried to get her to kill everybody in the house. She was about 8 or 9 years old. Now, ain't that odd? They thought nothing better. I said, what would you do about it? Nothing. Whoa. Very odd. And then a fellow in Canada, his name was Leaf Lind. And he's a very small man. They used to call him Leaflet.
Leaflet.
He worked in Africa. And he said that he was in this jungle area, I'm not sure what country he was talking about, and a UFO came over that everybody saw, and it was circular, a flat disc, and there was a guardrail around the edge of it, and there was men walking around it. And he'd seen it with his own eyes. Well, that's interesting. However, they do have these flat balloon things that they use for, especially in South America in the jungles, where they'll settle down on top of trees and study the insects, the bird life and so forth. And they have an edge on it and they walk around it, right? It was probably one of those, but he believed it was a UFO and aliens. Now that man came to my house for a couple of years when I was living in Sprout Lake in Port Alberni, Canada. Yes. And he told me a funny story, how he got married. He was riding back and forwards, probably from Africa, when it was before he came to Port Alberni, to this woman, and the communications got sort of out of step. And she wrote back after he had sent her a letter asking her to marry him. She said, yes, I will, right? But the letter was in response to another letter which wasn't asking her to marry him. Right. It was something else which required a yes or no answer. Yes. So then he's writing back to her. He's so happy that she's now decided to marry him, so she's out of embarrassment married him. Were they happy? Well, they had 2 little leaflets. Well, bit of a joke, yeah. So
at what point, I mean, at that early stage, when you were in Canada, what kinds of things were you explaining to this man then? Because was this before you began your earnest measurements of everything?
No, I did the measurements real big time by then.
Oh.
At that time when he was still coming, Paul and I had separated.
Right.
She charged me with uttering a death threat.
Right, okay, so it's middle.
So he was still coming.
Right.
And because he just thought I was such an interesting fellow. And I said to him one day, I said, now, you know what the Sadducees are, you know what the Pharisees are, now you know what the Essenes are. I said, what does you in the church, what are you? He said, a Pharisee.
Right.
It's a Babylonian Pharisee.
Yes.
He still didn't get it.
No.
So I said, why don't you write to your people in America that are the top men
top of the
in the church,
yes.
which you knew some of them.
Right.
And tell them what you've been experiencing with me, what I'm saying. Apparently he did, got no response. So he was sort of, when he was with me for an hour or two on that day, overlooking the lake, it was lovely, you know. He couldn't deny what I was telling him was true. But then what happens is you've got the financial segmented, what happens if I am kicked out of the church? What do I do for a living? Right? I've got a family, I've got a house, he gets a house out of it, lovely house, car, position, money, right? But it's all owned by the church. So if he was to step out of that, then he's on welfare. So he wasn't prepared to do that. He was only prepared to believe me while he was sick.
Yes.
So truth is very easily sold and manipulated when it needs to be. And that's what the world is caught up in. That the Jews have got the stranglehold on the world so bad that they control absolutely everything. And even the average Jew probably doesn't realise it.
Right.
But if you want to take the average Jew, what's the real difference between the average Jew and the Christian Jew? Because they're all Jews. All Christians are Jews in their belief system. The other ones think they're the chosen people, which they aren't, of course, because they're descended from Mongolians and Khazars that are Russian. So there's the first lie. The second lie is that they allow the Christians to believe that they are reading the same stuff that the Christians are reading, which is another lie.
Yes.
They don't read any of the Old Testament. Right?
It's all Talmud.
It's all Talmud. So the Christians don't realise it. What I find amazing is how many Christian pastors don't talk about it. Right? How can they go along with it?
Well, I mean,
their Messiah is not the Messiah. I was an Essene. It's an Essene Messiah. This is the real one, not the bullshit one of the Jews or the Christians today.
Okay, just Eric, Anna. Hello, Eric, Anna. Hi, guys.
Hello there.
Eric was leaving messages.
My lovely Anna.
Eric was leaving messages yesterday on my Facebook, and I said, well, I don't get these during the show. Haven't you got an account? So glad to say hello to you both, our favourite couple.
He's on the show now, is it?
Yeah, well, he just came in. Hi, Ash.
Well, he has got a Facebook now.
Yeah, well, he's got a Spreaker now.
Ah,
yeah.
Okay.
Because you need to have a Spreaker account to sign in and say hello.
Okay.
As we're talking. So, hi guys, thanks for coming on over.
Goes to show you what I know about it, doesn't it? I've never even looked at it. Which I don't look at anything.
I'm just rereading. Well, 3 minutes ago, here I left. He says, "I'm so captivated, but I have to pee." and then 1 minute later, he says, "Crap."
Yeah, crap
so
too.
That's like me.
The timing of these shows is all between your rivals, isn't it?
I always have to tell you.
I've got about an 18-day ladder.
Yes, he has. You're a bit like a camel, babe. Duration. Not
I don't have to eat.
Most mothers are not. Most mothers need to have the bathroom close at hand at all times.
I thought I cured that when I first met
you. Yeah, it is. Oh, trust me, I'm way better. Absolutely, totally. I'm not. No,
he was a woman with an issue, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, yes. But the angels dealt with that when I first found you, absolutely.
What do you mean the angels dealt with it?
Well, it was you, yes, under instruction. The angels do the work under instructions. So,
I'll give you a bit of credit.
All right, he says, I'm back. Hi, hero. I'm glad you're back from the place that you went to, the privy. And now, Adam...
There's a privy council in England where they'll go get pissed.
Or go to pee. Adam, 10 minutes ago, says he was talking about Hindus. Well, we found that where the Hindus are all about karma, they also view prana as being separate in some way. But prana is Yahweh, ? Also, the Muslim sees Allah as genderless and are waiting for Jesus to return. Christianity, similarly, cannot realize that the soul of Jesus was the soul of... Well, he says that the soul of Jesus was not Jesus, but Yahweh. Well, he was called Jesus. The body of flesh was called Jesus. The soul at that time was called Jesus, but it was the soul
the name
of
is
Yahweh.
Hebrew is Yahshua. In other words, saves.
Yes. Yah saves, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it means, Yah saves.
Yah saves. Now...
by coming to the earth.
Regarding karma and prana, really, we don't care. It's all over the place like a dog's breakfast, and they pick and choose what it is, whatever suits, whatever makes most money for them in these places. As for the Muslims, we were 10 weeks in Egypt, and they've been judged as insane. And we know that they're expecting Jesus. We had those that received the news. They received the news. It was all good. But then they expect you to become, the real estate agent and the one that hands out, all the freebies kind of thing. Well, it's...
Yeah.
And they do not understand, again, they do not understand that, first of all, Jesus is God, was God, is God. And that... Allah was walking around on the earth. They have this floaty ghost concept that Allah remains outside of everything and doesn't come to the earth.
Well, they're Jews.
Basically, yeah.
Muslims are Jews, so they don't know it.
Money, money, money.
Well, that's the Quran, that's Jewish.
You're right,
Well, you can search it on the internet, right? The Jewish Quran, I suppose you come up with something.
Now, Hirad should know... because he's just left a comment, morons. Yes, you're right, absolute morons. And here I should know because...
well, his family, look at the way they treat him.
Yes, not a happy family situation at all, dealing with the moronic. You're searching now, are you, babe?
I'm searching now.
Yeah. All right, now, I have, for the YouTube watchers, I've changed the painting. There's one behind me now. I'll move a little away and explain it. This one I called Kodesh, and it was the date on it is April 2006. All of these paintings I painted in the years running up to finding Yah, and I did, I think, 2 or 3 once I found him, and I haven't done one since. So this one, I'll tell you the story behind it. It's really rather remarkable. I had been and returned already back to Canada and the USA, looking, expecting at any time to run into the man, the Christ. And the pattern was BC, and then we usually end up in Denver, Colorado, somewhere, not Denver, but Colorado, and then back out to Australia. So it was while I had an 8-hour, prior to the painting of this, it was while I had an 8-hour layover at the Denver airport, and yes, all of those murals and things that are on the wall, and being there since 1994, it's rather astonishing. I've been 3 times at Denver airport, but this time I had an 8-hour layover. And I bought and paid for something I don't usually do, but I bought the book, Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code. The whole world was reading it at the time. And I thought, what the hell, I'll get it. So I read it for the 8 hours at the airport. I didn't finish it. I had, I don't know, maybe 40 pages to go. So it was, I believe, a Sunday after I'd returned home from that particular trip. And at the time I was living in my mother's apartment at Balmain. Beautiful location. Now that apartment location was wholly in itself. The apartment number was 801, which was the birth hour. It's also Lord, and Alpha, the 800, is Lord in Greek Gematria, and 1, of course, is Alpha. But it was the birth time as Jesus in 2 BC. The street number was 32, which means angel, and it ran off Margaret Street, which, of course, is... First of all, it was my mother's name and my grandmother's name, but also in history, Yah was reborn into St. Margaret's Hospital. It's all to do with Margaret, who's the Queen of Scotland, married to Malcolm, and but she was, anyway, you know that story. Queen of England, yeah, became the Queen of Scotland. So, all right, I prepared this canvas as I do, and I have a penchant for using metallics. So I prepared the canvas with the background, and that's it. I just had it blank, and I think it was that way for a couple of days. And then on the Sunday morning, beautiful Sunday morning in April, so this time now, autumn, glorious time, I was compelled to finish reading the book. It was like an instruction, finish reading the book. So I went out and I onto the balcony and I read the last 40 pages, and I go, okay, all right, well, I've read the book. All entirely predictable, whatever you like. But okay, I finished. I read the book. Well, then I approached the blank canvas, just the orange, and I started to do this design. Now, as Yah measures everything, and he's pedantic about his measurements, so am I. When it comes to a design like this, where the precision, I've got to get it right. It has to be in balance to the eye. It's got to be everything just right, and sequential. So I use masking tape to get the precision with these lines. Anyway, as I'm doing it, and I began painting it, and it's the sequence, of course, of the black, gold, and pearl. This is mother of pearl, the white here, black, gold. And I had these 2 V's in it, if you like, inverted. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't actually like these. But I didn't touch it. I left it the way it was. And so I finished it, and I'm thinking, all right, what is it? I hung it on the wall, and I didn't have anything about it. I just hung it on the wall and thought, well, it's something. Well, I had a friend over to dinner who looked at it, and he said, this is one that was a bit prophetic and had dreams in the past. He said, it looks like something ancient, like I've seen it before. That was about it. So I go, all right. I called it Kodesh. I'd already called it Kodesh, C-O-D-E-S-H. And it was like a play on words for me. And anytime I name anything, it's usually a play on words that has like 2 meanings, whatever. Because it means holy in Hebrew, as a matter of fact, but I changed the playing on the code, like there's a code in there somewhere, but I didn't know what it was. Well, you could have knocked me over with a feather. It was not long after, I think it was very early May, so it might have been a couple of weeks, it might have even been, no, it would have been days after, as I'm contemplating what it is that I've painted, that they began advertising the release of the Da Vinci Code in the cinemas. In Australia, it ended up being a May release, 2006. And as they're advertising it, they're talking about the... before the advertising of it, I'm looking at these again and I'm thinking, okay, I've seen this before. I didn't like it, but I've seen this before. And then I remembered the book, so I went and picked up the book that I'd finished reading, forgot all about. And I think it was page 388. And this is where I go, oh my God. Because of this, of course, is the answer This is the pyramid, right way up, upside down, underneath the Louvre. And on page 388, it had it just as these black lines inverted and, you know, right way up and all the rest of it, upside down. Right way up and upside down. And I thought, oh my God, I have painted the answer to the code. Then it was days later, they started advertising and showing the cylinder, the keystone, that has all of these rectangular shapes on it, and it was about finding the code. There were 5 letters to the code, and or it might have been 6, I forget now. I think the answer was Sophie anyway, that's 6, whatever. But it was the clicking to the keystone and lining up these cylinders in order to get the answer and unlock it and reveal what was inside. And of course it was Sophie, the daughter, the one that was doing the looking. So I'm going, oh my God, I've painted the answer to the Da Vinci Code, not having a clue. And this is the cylinder that had the answer inside. Well, of course the answer was in my living room, because that was 2006. I found you 2 years later, 2008. And this series of paintings, when people came into my living room, I had two men that I had yet to meet came in. They looked at all of my paintings, and each one of them said, "You know that these are alive?" And I said yes, because as I painted them and then named them, this was Kodesh, holy. That situations in my life I'd have to go through that I had painted. So it was all this pathetic, prophetic, parallel and all the rest of it. So yeah, this is Kodesh. And of course, well, the Da Vinci Code, it wasn't about Mary Magdalene and Jesus and a hidden bloodline from them. It was the hidden bloodline. Martha, hello, I'm Martha. And Jesus, the twins, the cross.
And 388 is to re-crucify.
388. What's 388?
You said on page 388.
Yes. You
can't change it now.
No, I said 388. That was my, but that's what I thought. Could go and check it. I don't have the book any longer, but anyway, that's the story.
Okay, now I just looked up a little bit of the surahs, which is 144 of them.
Yeah, right.
Of the Quran.
Yes.
This is called the cow.
The cow.
Very, very prophetic.
Okay.
2:40. O children of Israel, call to mind my favour which I bestowed on you, and be faithful your covenant with me. I will fulfil my covenant with you, and of me alone, should you be afraid. 2:47. O children of Israel, call to mind my favour which I bestowed on you, and that I made you excel the nations. 2:62. Surely those who believe, and those who are Jews, and the Christians, and the Sabians, whosoever believe in Allah and the last day, and does good, they shall have their reward from the Lord, and there is no fear for them, nor shall they grieve. Go down a little bit. 288. And they say, our hearts are covered. Nay, Allah has cursed them on account of their unbelief. So little it is that they believe. Then it goes to 298. Whoever is the enemy of Allah and his angels and his apostles and Jibreel and Mikhail,
Gabriel and Michael.
So surely Allah is the enemy of the unbelievers. So the Jews don't believe, the Christians don't believe, now they're the enemy. But it's only taken from 240 to 288 and 298 in the same cow, as they call it. But it goes on. This is very, very prophetic, I think.
Oh, I know. I just got to get the door. It's the wind blowing it.
Whosoever disbelieves in it, there it is. They are the losers. Okay, the women. Allah has cursed them on account of their unbelief. We allow to them the good things which had been made lawful for them, and for their hindering made people from Allah's way. That's called the women. This is the dinner table. You shall always discover treachery in them, expecting a few of them. I think it should be accepting a few of them. The punishment of those who wage war against Allah and his apostle and strive to make mischief in the land is only this, that they should be murdered or crucified on their hands, and their feet should be cut off on opposite sides, so they should be imprisoned. That's supposed to be coming from Muhammad. No, it's supposed to be all written by Muhammad. They gathered that one. The punishment of those who wage war against Allah and his apostle, singular, him, and strive to make mischief in the land is only this, that they should be murdered or crucified on their hands, and their feet should be cut off on opposite sides, or they should be imprisoned.
Right. Marvellous. Now, of course, as we've said over and over, an apostle cannot be anybody.
That's right.
Since the cross. Now, we've somebody else joined us, and I don't know who you are. The Dark Knight says hi. So hello to the Dark Knight.
Hello, Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. K-N-I-G-H-T.
Here's another one by Muhammad. Do not take the Jews and the Christians for friends. And he goes down and he also says, he made apes and swine. Their hands shall be shackled, and they shall be cursed for what they say. They strive to make mischief in the land. So you can see how it's all coming back to the same insanity.
And that's the whole Talmud bent. It talks about animals and apes and things, and comparing everybody else with themselves. Yeah.
So that's they've written for the capturing of the Muslim, which weren't too bright in those days. So here's one, it's called the cattle. And to those who were Jews, we made unlawful every animal having claws, and of oxen and sheep we made unlawful to them the fat of both, except such as was on their backs, or the entrails, or what was mixed with bones. This was a punishment we gave them on account of their rebellion. Now, does that make sense?
Now, this is when it's talking about we gave them. This is supposed to be the message from Gabriel, the archangel, to Muhammad. So it's right. Anyway, insanity.
That's why I've only read 3 pages of it and put it down, and I couldn't put up with it. But there's quite a few. This is all to do with the Jews, right? This is just about Jewish Quran.
Yes.
That's what it came up with.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not going to make a study of it. It's still stupid.
Totally. So we are headed to New Zealand at some point.
We don't know when.
We're tossing around dates and all the rest of it, because you want to go particularly to be there and
New Zealand, the south of New Zealand, is where it's the best view of what's coming from the south, because all, if you were looking for comets, for example, a comet will always come up from the south. Well, 99% come up from the south, because the Earth is moving northward. Well, it's been dragged by the sun at 69,000 kilometres per hour. So therefore, it would appear that these things come down and then come back up. Now, with the Messier comet of 1779, it was spotted by Messier in the north, which makes it rather unusual. And then it went down. That was on the 8th of August 1769. And then it went down and came back up where Cook seen it when he was sailing back from Antarctica.
And that was on the 30th.
Yeah. So when you add up 8 days to the Messier sighting in France, it brings it out to Rhiannon's birthday.
Yes.
Which is the 20th of December, or would be the 21st in Australia. So it would be the crossing of the Milky Way galaxy as per the Mayan calendar. And then you do it to mine, and it comes up to when I'm 69. On that date, Trinity was 8.888 years old. That's my mother, reincarnated. And that's why they put up with her mother, Rhiannon, and the family, all bloody child molesters and whatever they are, a filthy bunch of bastards. And Michelle, right? Who was a thief, a liar, and...
And this is Mary Magdalene.
Yeah, and the morals of a dog on heat. So I had to put up with that for 13.13 years, which I wasn't happy about. But then again, that's what happens in life. I'm not here to have a good time. But
it was exactly 2 months later that Benedict began communications with you.
That's right.
And the next day he announced Salvator Mundi.
That's right.
Finally, I have met him through the email. Now, the timing of everything, of course, is...
No greater statement ever been uttered in modern times.
Yeah. Salvator Mundi, the saviour of the world. The Word of God reincarnate, the Lord Jesus Christ. Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall. And the timing of Benedict resigning. I mean, how many books have been written? You know, when the whole world finally wakes up and acknowledges, well, soon, they've got to get on their knees really soon, otherwise they're not happy. But the point is that nobody really wants Jesus to return because everybody would be out of business.
Right.
It's the old money changers, the merchandise.
Oh, it's all gone, yeah.
It's all gone. And the teachings, because none of the teachings are right. Nobody has got it right. And even Benedict himself, as a learned theologian, well, what had he been studying? He was studying the Bible all those years, not realising that the construct of it was actually satanic.
Yeah. Well, see, he starts off as a child in these things and you're brainwashed into a certain way of thinking.
Yes.
By the time you're 7, your mind, so to speak.
Yes.
Well, this is what the devil had done to most people, especially in those days when it was leading into World War II. And he was totally consumed by listening to the BBC. He's listening to Jews and didn't know it.
Yes, well, his parents were, yes, listening to the Jews. Anyway,
so this is the I'll just go over and look at this again. This is what I was looking at in New Zealand. Now, New Zealand is important because of the 2 islands, well, there's 3 islands. There's this one here, this is Stanley. But when you look at the whole thing...
Stewart Island is the one off the bottom.
I'm sorry, Stewart Island. When you go from Stewart Island tip to the tip straight up, it's 888 miles. Well, now, I've done all sorts of measurements and looked at this thing over and over again. And in all of my GPS, something strange happens. For example, if you go to Sydney Harbour, I'll just see if I can zoom in and show you what happens on this thing. That's Sydney Harbour right there. Now, when Cook had gone to New Zealand, he measured it with the Harrison clock and he came up with a series of drawings that are so accurate that they still use them today. So his mapping was because of the Harrison clock that he had with him. So, what are we looking at here? What we have is Sydney Hibbs. Now he sails up from Botany Bay, which is a shithole. And you say, well, why didn't he go into the most magnificent harbour on the earth? He didn't, he sailed straight past. Well, what I'll do tomorrow, if you remind me, my dear, let's do it. Just a second. Watson's Bay. This is my DNY. There you go. I should find it. Right, so that's Watson's Bay, a very lovely area. It's all Jewish. All this around here, all Jewish. And the Jews have taken over Australia big time. Now, I don't know whether this will show you, but I'll run a line across here to give you some idea what I'm talking about, and then I'll explain what I'm on about. Roughly from there to there. We go back again, hold on.
Right, well, while you're finding your way around there, I'll just say I read a comment left by Rodney over on the Facebook. He says, much love, putting on the headphones and go lightly into sleep. So Rodney, if you're not already fallen asleep and you can hear us still, sweet dreams. And love your work. He's always filming.
Now, that line there, which you can see, is 1.97 kilometres long. On my Magellan, which I've been using for a very long period of time, they are not connected to the internet. And as a result of that, I've got about 8 different programs, all put out by Magellan. One is North America, one is Canada, one is Australia. Then there's 6 different states in Australia, which I've individually got, and also England. So what you can do with it, you can go into, let's say, the Australian one, and you can plot those 2 coordinates, and you can put them in any of the GPSs that software that I've got on the other computers. But what happens is when you zoom in on this area here, a white line starts to appear. And when you go down the coast, there's none in Botany Bay where Cook went into, but everyone else, there's another very lovely place where the Australian Navy is all taken over. It's called Jervis Bay. We went past that too. Much, much nicer place and bigger to go into for a look, because he's supposed to be the great explorer. He couldn't get in there because there's this white line across it. So that's indeed very, very interesting in that sense. Now, what's it all mean? Well, as he's going back and forwards, I, of course, had gone up to visit my sister, and on this side here is quite a lot of bushland. And up on the hill, there's a plaque showing the Cook expedition. And he sailed up there. He did not go into Sydney Harbour. He sailed out to sea, come back, sailed out to sea, come back, sailed out to sea, come back, because he didn't want to get washed up in rocks. So he's a good sailor. He'd go out to sea at night and then come back in during the day, trying to get into Sydney Harbour. 4 days he couldn't get in. He then got the shits with that and he moved on. So as he's moving up the coast, you say, well, what's next? Well, he goes up the coast, and there's this lovely beaches here you see going up the coast. Well, he sails right up here. Then he comes to the Hawkesbury River. Now, the Hawkesbury River is a very, very large opening. And there it is there. So I'll just zoom out a little bit to give you some idea. He didn't go in there either. Now this has got all sorts of bays and things in there. It's ideal for a conquering nation. Now the mouth of it is 3.68 kilometres wide. Roughly 4 kilometres there. Didn't go in there either.
No.
I'm just opening up here on this other program, which I'll put the camera over in a minute, and I'll show you what I'm talking about to you. Because some people think I'm bullshitting, you know. I do a lot of bullshitting, actually. Alright, so I'm going to go down and prove my point.
Huh? This is the sword, right?
This is well, no, this is the one across Sydney Hits. What are we going to do? Pittwater, there we go. Manly, Watson's Bay, there we go. Alright, now I'll just hang in there, folks. I'm coming.
Kashmir, hi Kashmir. Kashmir said hello to us.
Alright, now, there's that on there, which you can see. I'll now take it over to Discover Australia, which is over here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing that we can have a bit of a discussion on tomorrow, because it's quite complex. So if you remind me, my dear. So this is Sydney Heads, right? Now, what you do is you start zooming in, and you'll see a white line start to appear across there. And there it is, it's like a sword. Now, this is the Garden of Eden, the two angels with the flaming swords, right?
The cherub.
Cook could not go in there. You see up on the right hand side here, at that little square there, that's showing what we were measuring. And then on the left you see how the white line is showing up. Okay, now, I'll move that across. So this will move across to here. So, hopefully, there we go. And the white line is going straight across. And it's ending up at that point there, which is that point there on the big map. Now, that's 1.97 long. Now, that is my name. Like, that's it. It's 1.97.
That's Brian Leonard Marshall,
Yes.
the Gematria for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that line points to the very house that I inherited, which was my mother's house, which she insisted that my father, if she had lived, would have insisted that I get the property. But as it turns out, she died first. So right up until his last breath, he wanted to cut me out the will, this arsehole, right?
Yes.
With that money, we went to New Guinea.
That's right.
In New Guinea, I get ripped off, as you know.
Yes.
Right? 50-odd thousand, one go. And we established two people that were, one was a believer in Jesus, the other one wasn't. They're Seventh-day Adventists. And the two clinics were healing all these people of AIDS and so forth. And so, that line there points to, now I'll just see if this thing's working all right. Search by address. New South Wales. City is Padstow. So I remind him, we'll make a show of it tomorrow. Because it's very good when you can look at things and see me doing it live. What a man. Should I spell it right? Okay, there's Trevana Padstow, right? Now this here area on the left, so I'll zoom in, that line there is Padstow. So this is the house right there. So now we're going to draw a line, or we'll do a measurement. I'll go to Watson's Bay again, so we'll type in Watson's Bay and show you how I do it, New South Wales. And now we're going to go to, well, I think I'll do it another way. I will. Search by name, Australia, New South Wales, Watson. Dad, I'll do it before, kind of easy. Hang in there and I'll find it. Do another one. Should have a waypoint up here. Oops, not too far. That's it there. So we go into the little pointer here. We're going to put a waypoint right there, and then we're going to go with a line from there to there. So there it is. So now we're going to zoom out and see what we get. There we go. Go from the house to there. Let's see, will it go in or not? Oh, yeah, there you go. And you'll see the line is identical to it. Can you see that there? In other words, that line points to the house that I would inherit, which would give me the money for us to go up to New Guinea to set up the AIDS cures and all these other disease cures,
yes.
and have 2 people to this day working up there, which was made into a video, which what Pope looked at, and he said this is what Jesus would do if he's reincarnated to the earth, therefore it is him.
Yeah, along with the Shroud of Turin and all the other evidence.
That's right.
But even more than that, it was from within his own soul, the truth that resonated.
Well,
he described it as the compassion, and he was moved inwardly with the love and compassion of God, and he could not deny what he was looking at. He was trying to deny it, but he couldn't, because from within his own soul, he knew it was the absolute truth. Because he is Peter, the resurrected Peter. Now, all right, I've just noticed over here yesterday or 12 hours ago on the group that a lot of the UK people have come in on. Adam and it's the one that Scylla started, and Adam and a lot of others have come in through it, all the marks. And now the message that you uploaded on your Facebook to the American Christians in particular, on the blood moon on the 4th, this is the one where your authority said, yes, go ahead, a message to American Christians. Adam has actually made like a photograph of this as a poster, and it's been going around and it's been getting a lot of attention. You said to them, you are all dead, raised to damnation along with the Jews. You will go to the abyss. It is of you that I said as Jesus, quote, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. And then you continue to say, you make me sick to my stomach. You have already been judged long before you were reborn to the earth, and I would not have you in my house for one moment, let alone eternity. America is the abomination that makes desolate, the arm of destruction for the Jews. Its churches preaching the doctrines of devils, and you are possessed by them. So that was the April 4th blood moon message to the Christian world. Then a new fellow comes in. This is Joe, who says some of them might not know that they are fake Christians, though. And Scylla came back with a response, but she put it out to us to adjudicate this response. She said, I think at the end of the day, it is those people with demonic DNA who will be removed. That is, the bloodlines of Cain, who are possessed by devils also. Anyone who has been caught up in this but doesn't share the demonic DNA will likely be saved. I see what you mean, though, Joe. I've thought that myself. The righteous have a big chance of inheriting the earth wherever they are. I'd say, although I'm not Yah, perhaps we can get some input from him. So, what say you with that?
Got to become like a small child, otherwise you ain't getting in.
Totally.
Fuck off. Now, we're going over...
It's really quite simple.
All these Magellan programs have a similar phenomena. So we're going to go to one that I discovered, and I want to show you where it is first. And then you see how large it is. Now, this one here, I'll put it on its sword centre. Okay? So you say, well, where is it? Well, you find it by going from the pyramid 3168 miles, and then from a line that it crosses, which is 2424 miles, which is the height of Europe, by the way, from off the coast slightly of Gibraltar, the Straits of Gibraltar. You just get out to the Straits a little bit, maybe a mile or two, and you go straight up. And what you end up with, of course, is this little point here. And I'll zoom out and show you what it is. So now it starts to disappear. So we're going out 96,000 feet, something like that, and it's gone. Now, this is in the middle of the North Sea. You'd have to ask yourself, this is Jan Mayen Island, just off this area here. You'd have to ask yourself, how would I find that? It's not as if you go in there and say, oh, I'm going to look at some part of the sea or somewhere. You have to be just above it before it starts showing up. It's the same phenomena when you're in Sydney Heads, that you have to zoom right into the line starts to show up. Well, that happens right down the coast and of New Zealand and of Australia. So all these places in New Zealand have a similar phenomenon where Cook did not go into. It's a common phenomenon. He didn't go there. He didn't go into the big areas, which is the first ones you go into, especially if you want looking for fresh water. He didn't do that in Australia when he was in Australia. He went straight up, goes into the shithole Botany Bay. Yes. There's nothing there. Right? Getting fresh water there is difficult. Right? And then go past the largest, most magnificent harbour in the world, which is on either side of it, flanked by 300 and 400 feet high cliffs. It's a perfect all-weather location. He didn't go in there either. He's a great explorer that had just finished measuring New Guinea, New Zealand, to the point of knowing that the maps that he produced is equal to the maps that are available today from GPS. Matter of fact, Joel's father was here the other day, and he was talking about the accuracy of the maps of New Zealand. Yes. Done by Cook. So there it is there. So you have to go zooming in. So what happens is this: you go to the pyramid, and I'll keep it in miles, US miles. We'll zoom in a little bit. That'll do. And we're going to go from the pyramid, which is approximately, it doesn't have to be, I'm not trying to be exact at the moment, to the sword centre. And we know when it gets to 3168, there it is there, that's the centre of that there, right? So if you zoom in on that, you'll see, if I can do it, maybe.
Jonas has just 2 minutes ago come on board. Hi Jonas, and yes, you're right. He says, although he has no sound now, so he might not be hearing this, he says the Americans have murdered many civilians and children and rescue teams that go in to get the wounded. Abominations.
Yeah. Okay, so now we go from that point straight down to the Gibraltar, and we have a distance of 2424 miles. Then you go across to the pyramid, and the three sides are 7770 miles. Now, what I'm saying is, if you was to open up, I challenge anyone in the world to do what I've done. Hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people have got this Magellan software, especially in America and England and so forth. Go in there and see if you can find it without me telling you what the coordinates are. You might do it. Yeah. You've got to be a couple of 100 metres above the actual line before it starts showing up. So we can have a look at that tomorrow. I'll show you how I've done it and show you the miracles of it.
Okay, Ross has just come in. Ross Manny, another Aussie. Hi Ross. And Hira's just saying it's 11:11 p.m. Yes, and it's 1:11 here, guys. Ross, interested to read your comment the other day about similarities, your mother and father, etc., and the names in New Zealand and all the similar synchronicities. what I was going to respond to, I don't know if I actually did it on the Facebook, is that that's what people end up telling us, that we remind them so much of a number of people in their lives, but most especially their mother and father, parts of us, whatever, or bits of several people rolled into one, I think, in a lot of people's lives.
Now, the distance from the centre of that to the centre of the line going across Sydney Heads is to spy out.
Spy out, yeah.
So it is built into this program,
which is what he was trying to do.
By miraculous ways, which I can assure you that the Magellan people, which I've written to about it, they had no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. But there it is. And that one across Sydney Heads, this one here, we go from there, and we go down to Travane, if I can find it on, I just opened this up. So it continues from there. So why? Well, when we get to Travane, which is a house that I inherited, I should make it easy to find, shouldn't I? Palestine, there you go. Now there it is there.
I'm just thinking how much more interesting this show will be when you watch it on the YouTube.
Now there's the line. So, round trip, I'm doing it here, round trip, 30.2 nautical miles. We could do it and change it to US miles or statute miles, 34.7. Or we can change it to metric, which is 56. Okay, so you look all those numbers up. But what I'm trying to show you here, basically, is we're going to zoom in.
So what was the number?
Hold on. We see in the centre of this a little white dot. There's the line, I've gone beside it. It is exactly parallel there, going a bit further. And without me doing that, you see how they're parallel? There it is there. Without that, I would not have inherited a house that's at Travane Street, Pastor. However, measuring from that to the same address in England, in Cornwall,
yes,
which is where the family of Jesus came from, Joseph of Arimathea, if you went to Cornwall today, it'll have everything pertaining to Jesus' well, Jesus' house, the house of Mary,
yes,
which was built, the Willow House, all this kind of thing, and the mines that are all dedicated to Jesus and to Joseph of Arimathea.
Yes, and it's the home of the Cornish pasty.
Ah, let's go and have one now.
Which we've been having vegetable pasties lately. Cornwall is where they invented them.
That's it. You know why they did it? It's got a very thick crust under it.
Yes, very thick crust. It was
why?
to do with the tin lunch boxes that they could put them in, and the heating of them, something like that. Yeah, what? Tell me.
The crust, you'd hold the crust,
yes,
you eat the inside bit and throw the crust away because their hands were covered in dust from the
tin.
mines.
Yeah, the tin dust. Yeah, right. Okay, got it. That's right.
That's why it's called a Cornish pasty.
Right.
Mind you, the crust's the best bit, I think.
No, we read that on the wall somewhere, a cafe in Glastonbury.
Oh, in Glastonbury, yeah.
Mm.
So we learnt something from our travels. It cost us $10,000, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so that's what we do with our time, folks. I don't let 1 minute go by without me thinking about something, whether I'm asleep or awake.
That's true.
She could be laying there at night, it can be 3 in the morning, and she'll say something and I'm awake. So I'm thinking about measuring or this or that or putting it all together. Not for the Jews, not for the Christians, but for the children to come, because they're going to be so smart compared to what the people of today are, the adults of today. Like, they'll be more like me, who are made in God's image. And I was smarter than an adult when I was 2 years of age.
that reminds me, shall I read what Herod figured about Lincoln? Remember the other day I acknowledged his first birthday, and since Herod is now, he wrote, first of all, he was acknowledging the buzzing that I was talking about. He said the buzzing is definitely from a low frequency beam. Lots of people that are targets describe the same thing. He says, I'm looking at Lincoln's birth chart. He has the most prominent sun in Aries with the past life planet Ketu right on top, which means he was a king in his past life, and he's going to be lovable, very wise and charming himself. He says, I was just bored, but I see he has strong planets, 3 of them. Venus, Sun and Jupiter are the strongest I'd need. Are the strongest. He says, I'd need his exact time of birth to describe his life, but he's totally the child of the future. A strong Jupiter means he won't be bullshitted. It's easy to teach him anything. Very intelligent boy. Hello, he says with a smiley face rather. And when he sent the message, it was 3:12 p.m. And yes, Herod, you got my message about his birth hour. It was 16:35 on the 7th of April.
Now, I just wanted to go across to this again. As I said, Cook went into Botany Bay, but he was unable to get into the bays prior to that. And this is the a river, a large river, and you see the line there. We'll zoom out, and there it is there. There's another line there, so he could not get into that either because of that sword being across it.
Just so that you know, our time was up 17 minutes ago.
Good. All right, I'll just have a little bit of a play.
Okay.
So you can sign out anytime you like.
All right. All right, guys, well, we really should go. I don't know if there's somebody supposed to be behind us using the deck, but that's the way it works. So thank you, everybody. Now we've got a group that joined us.
Well, that's nice, isn't it?
Yes, it is. To Herod, Ross, Adam, Kashmir, and then the Dark Knight, whoever you are. Thanks, guys, for coming
Dark
over.
Knight.
Yeah, as in what was it? Heath Ledger? Was he the Dark Knight or
No?
K-N-I-G-H-T? Oh, anyway, whatever. Yeah, see you later, says Herod. Love you guys too. Love everybody out there who is like a small child and inherits the kingdom of God. I'll keep spreading the word. Yes. Well, now I want to reiterate to people because our guys get into trouble a lot. Now, Kashmir, you know I'm talking to you. I've told you over and over and over. Just focus on what you have to do to live. Keep your job and all the rest of it. Nobody's going to wake up. They'll find us or they won't. So we don't want anybody putting themselves in a position where their jobs are threatened or anything like that. You have to survive. And just get on with your lives. Yah has it handled, and we're
You know, I often was horrified to think that people went into the lion's den because they wouldn't deny Jesus.
Right.
My advice is, that arsehole, you did that.
I mean, you're absolutely horrified about, you know, the
I'm Jewish, yes.
Yes.
Don't ever do that.
No.
Don't ever. If someone says you deny this man and woman, right, under the penalty of something, say, cross that pair of bloody lunatics, but they're interesting to listen to.
Doesn't change the outcome.
They're antichrist.
Oh dear. Actually, yes. You could. Kashmir, get over it. He says, I just hate the fact they deny you, Mother and Father. Listen, if we weren't rejected, we'd be wondering what the hell's going on. Wouldn't be.
Well, if we weren't rejected, I wouldn't be in.
No, that's right. So it's all good. And, Jonas says, to hear your voices. Thanks, Jonas. Yes, I know. What is interesting, and this is gratifying, you know that we're selling the black salve, and daily now, as people are finding it on the eBay, they are buying it. Well, you know, we've done it because it should be available. The TGA here is banned it from sale. Well, we don't care about anything that come and get us. We're always challenging them, do what you will kind of thing. And so it's gratifying now. We've sold about 10 of these to different people in Australia. And they're writing to us because we encourage that. We want to know what's going on. And we give them all kinds of information, literally educating them, including the DVD of the One Answer to Cancer that was produced by Elaine Hollingsworth, etc. The story behind it, all that. But one wrote to me yesterday, I found it. Now, this is just eBay, where it's strictly, supposedly the way it operates. You sell something, that's it. You don't go back unless you want to get more, things like that. But yeah, from the beginning, made a point of personal communication with the guy that started it all. And then this one lady came in, she asked us a question and we answered. And then she ended up ordering, we sent her way more than she thought she had to save up for, so we sent her 3 lots of things to help her overcome. What she said was for her husband originally, and that was it, that was the end of communication. And then yesterday I found this email at the end of the day that she's like, oh, and I had warned, I always warn people, particularly with the black salve capsules, which are strictly the 4 herbs without any of the zinc chloride in it, that the reports from people who have healed their cancers using the capsules are that they can and will feel pain at the site where the cancer or the tumour is, as the herbs are causing the immune system to kick in and kill the invaders, being the cancer or the tumour. And they describe the pain they go through, and it can be horrible for a couple of days, 2, 3, 4 days, and then when the pain's gone, they know that they're okay. So I always warn people about that. We, as you know, we warn people too about the calcium hypochlorite, because that can make you throw up if you're full of toxins. Other people can take it, and it's no problem. You just get a bit uncomfortable, drink more water, and you're okay. So warning these people yesterday, the email that came in from this lady in Australia, it was like she was panicking. Oh my God, I feel so awful, and please can you send me some encouragement? So I got the email straight back and told her about Adam. When he came home from Poland, he was filled with every vile thing that had been diagnosed, and about 5 conditions that each one of them they said will cause a cancer, like you are a mess. So of course we just plied him with everything we knew what to hit him with, our usual protocols, and the bloodroot capsules. We'd already read about that, and he went through some days where he couldn't get out of bed because he was feeling so bad, but he persisted. So I sent back that communication to her to encourage her. It's okay. Well, she sent back a lovely email this morning, and she apologized for her panic, because her immediate thought was, who are these people? You know, I'm taking this stuff and I don't know them. And she said, however, I got through that when I realized that I'm always taken care of when I need to be. And she said, I don't know why, but that there is such comfort in communicating with you. This is through the eBay. And so I sent back another email and said, send your phone number. I'll call you, and when you get to hear our voices, we can get you laughing, which is the best medicine as well. So that is what Steve said, the first one to buy black salve. He literally said, God told me to go ahead and do this, because he's a Christian in Australia. Anyway, just you know, little anecdotal things, and we're up to 83 minutes now. It's 24 minutes ago. We should have ended. So thank you again, guys. Ross says, love guys, fabulous, and Hero says, me too. Thanks for the advice, and all good, guys. Okay, thank you for your love and support. So with that, we will say, see you later, alligators, and back tomorrow. Okay, bye.